With Bournemouth's increasingly diverse and creative community, how would you propose to support the development of its own unique identity?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think it needs much help. I think Bournemouth's doing brilliantly on its own. It's known nationally. People know this as a nice town to come and visit, a nice town to live. Indeed, when I chose where to come, I'll be honest with you, at the time this was the first or second best course in the country, and that was the overriding rule. But the chance to come and live down in a nice town by the sea, that was pretty high up on the category list too. So I'm not sure we need to do anything extra to encourage it, because Bournemouth has a vibe of its own already. It has an identity.
Well, I think this ties in with the second question, and really what we should be saying is how can we encourage people to stay once you finish your courses to stay in here? Well, by having an exhibit centre, but also it's like any startup business, the problems are in the first year. So we believe that Bournemouth Arts University should be saying to its best students, look, you've done really well, here's some form of grant or some form of bursary, stay around Bournemouth for a year. And I believe that will encourage the students who are here. It will also bring about more work within the area, and the creative community does bring such a big amount of finance into the area. It's a major industry, and it should be seen as a major industry.
Well, as I say, I think it's all about attracting the big businesses here. We create these graduates, the courses are actually here, they are second to none, they're the best in the country, best internationally, huge reputation, but we're not able to keep the graduates from then departing elsewhere. That's where the jobs are. Now we have some incubator units, we have some people that stay here, but ultimately if we're to benefit from these fantastic universities, from the great academic courses, then we need to get those, go to Silicon Valley, go to the other places around the world and say, invest in Bournemouth. Come and build your company here, and that way you're right next to the university and develop that relationship. That will actually which will complement this as a tourism area and as a financial services district.
I genuinely believe the Bournemouth is a creative area, a creative hub. You've got two universities with a lot of talented students. We need to try and persuade them to stay here and use their expertise and knowledge to really put Bournemouth on the map. I believe that we can get funding from the government, and I also think that local authority should be putting funding in as well. If we can create businesses in Bournemouth, it will bring jobs. Jobs bring money. Money helps the local economy. And we call it the circular flow of income in economics. And more money pumping in will create more and more jobs, more and more wealth, and make the whole environment better. This needs to be a vibrant hub of activity. And the students at the Arts Institute and Bournemouth University can be the centre of that hub of activity.
I think the community probably doesn't need help in developing its identity. It's developing its identity very well without any political influence. I think what this is kind of related to my previous answer. If we give adequate resource for the creative community to develop its identity, then really our creative community will grow and blossom, and it will help us to retain talent in the area. I mean, there is an outstanding music, poetry, art and a rising cinematography scene in Bournemouth outside of the university. So the identity is there and it's getting stronger, and I think we just need to create space for the community to grow.
This sounds, the answer that I've got for this one sounds rather contrived subsequent to my knowing that I've got this interview here today, so I'm going to be straight with you, it's not. In fact, I was talking to somebody about a year ago about a project for Bournemouth which would be particularly beneficial to the sort of students that come to this university anyway, and that is to create Bournemouth as an arts centre, a centre for the arts, perhaps even on a sort of a big scale that would include upgrading transport systems here, maybe the airport, in order to bring about the sort of project that was in mind with this person to whom I spoke. So yeah, I would be very much behind a project like that, creating Bournemouth as a centre for the arts, and there's plenty of scope to do that. Make it a very attractive town to come to.
this again I think is really important. Bournemouth can be seen as a bit of a commercial town, and I think it's really important that we embrace its creativity and its uniqueness and make it more unique, because we don't want to be another seaside town. We want to be something different. So there's lots of projects that are happening that need more support. One of the ones that I'm involved with is Vita Nova in Boscombe, which you probably know about as art students, but that's being shut down through lack of funding. So these are the kind of things that I think we should be working on and putting funding into, whether it's from community-based sources or from the government or local authorities, etc. And these projects are what would make us unique. We already know that Boscombe and Folkestone, Southbourne and Westbourne are a bit more diverse than Bournemouth, and we need to make that make it more creative, more unique, so that we stand out from the other seaside towns and we're, something special.
Right, this goes with question 2. The identity will be formed by the artists. The cultural industry is to be included into the Bournemouth plan, so the council should include the university and the artists in with finance. We've got a big finance section in Bournemouth, and we've got a big tourism in Bournemouth as well, and they should also incorporate the arts centre and the universities in that plan. And it's the art students that will encourage that.
Bournemouth is incredibly divided, I think. I did a project this week in a school in Kinson based on the Great Fire of London. And weeks before I'd been in a different school, a much nicer part of town, this young girl smiled at me and her teeth were in absolute disrepair. And it was heartbreaking to see a 6-year-old in such a poor state of health. So the divisions and the divided communities here go many, many ways. I think we over-concentrate on the centre of the town, and often there are big flashy events like things like the air show and the wheels event. A lot of resources, time and energy is spent on those. I think we need to be aware of the differences, and there could be some tensions at some point. Diversity is something that it's rich, it's exciting. We shouldn't address it because it's correct to address it in a political way. We should address it because it's fun, it's exciting, it makes us a richer, exciting place to be. So just look at the differences between the communities and get them to speak to each other, I think.